Tell you another thing you can try that I've seen done.
Tell you what, before we jump into that, this is like, sounds like it's gonna be a huge.
Well, I'm gonna say one more thing and I'll shut up. How's that?
Okay, go ahead.
You can also sometimes add that lien. There are some cities, and I can find out how, instead of, you can add that lien to the tax bill. And now, if they don't pay it in their tax bill, they get behind in their taxes and go into tax sale.
Sounds like we need to get a solicitor sitting at this table real soon.
Well, what I was gonna suggest is that, you guys take this offline and bring a recommendation back, so we got a place to start.
Well,
If
why
you
don't
need some
you-
help, I'll even step up and say, I'll help the two of you if we need a fourth person, but we're burning up an awful lot of daylight here, I think. It's a huge problem. I agree with the mayor that we've got some
Absolutely.
repeat long-term offenders that every time you drive by, you see no progress in spite of
You'll get
everything,
no argument.
all your effort. But I think it's bigger than this committee meeting. I think it's a work session.
Well, I think what I
So
will
let
do
me
is
suggest
I'll
that.
bring you some sample ordinances to look at, to do some of the
Please.
things we talked about. Some sample ordinances other cities have.
Okay, because otherwise we'll never, this is a problem in and of itself to draft.
Mr. Chair, while we're winding down the burning of daylight on this issue here, as you say, I want to make a recommendation to this board. Quite frankly, we should not, and I certainly hope that we do not, have long intermissions of not having meetings. I would only agree, maybe in the summertime, everybody's busy doing whatever they want to do, but quite frankly, we have 5 zoning officers' reports, which means there's been a total of, 5 meetings that have gone by where there's been no city board meeting. We're not planning, we're not zoning, we're not staying on top of issues. We shouldn't have to dwell on an issue for as long as what we've just dwelled on. We need to have, if we don't have an application, we have a workshop, and we discuss where we need to go and what we need to do, rather than doing it at a regular meeting when, in fact, there may be
How
business to take care of.
about this? We take that as offline as an action item after we got the meeting date set, that then we determine if we have an item like this, and we need to set up a work session, that we do it specifically for, in this case, attacking this. Your point is correct in that going 5, 6, 7 months with no meetings does stack up a significant amount of reports that we need to evaluate. Is there a much better way? Maybe it's, a quarterly quick meeting to resolve them, but not going 6 months. I agree
Quite honestly,
100%.
I think it's, in all due respect to the board members in itself, how are they able to stay on top of issues when we're just not meeting? We have to meet.
Don't disagree with you. Don't disagree with you.
We have to meet.
But we'll take that as a topic for, once we've got our plan, our dates set, then we'll set some that are just cast in stone as we're gonna meet even if there's no action.
It sounds to me like we're gonna be very busy for the next several months.
Could be. All right,
So you need motions to
Yeah.
accept the zoning officer's report.
how about a motion and a second to
I'll
accept?
second.
Okay.
Donald was first.
Any further discussion or questions of our zoning officer?
I got one.
Go ahead.
Is Lazy River Campground a year-round campground? I mean,
Only for 3 people.
oh, okay.
And let me clarify. It's a proprietary campground in the state of New Jersey, by which meaning that the people own the lots and pay taxes on it. So they can only habitate for so many days out of a month. And since they own them, you can't stop them.
Same if they're year-round?
No,
No?
but say that in the wintertime, say they come down there 7, 8 days a month because they want to go to casino or something like that. You can't stop them from doing that. And I have to make them keep a restroom open and a shower room open year-round. We just had a big fight about that a couple of years ago, and I ended up having to take them to court, and I won. okay? And that kind of stuff. But that's unlike any of the other campgrounds in town, because they're private campgrounds as opposed to proprietary campgrounds, and there's a different set of regulations set forth by the state.
Question is,
Okay, any other questions?
I just have one
Yeah, ma'am.
question.
Yes, ma'am.
How many houses are in foreclosure currently in this town?
Right now in Estell Manor, it goes on and off, but I'm gonna say, about 14, I'd say, okay?
That shrunk by 50%, I thought it was 28.
Not that I'm aware of, not listed on the Community Champions website, there's not 28.
Wayne, I thought you were the very one who told me it was 28.
Well, it might have been at one time, but they went off.
Okay.
Just thank God there's not 320 of them like there is in Noble.
Yeah.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
On the zoning officer's report, the Mayville old gravel pit that was.
Yes, sir.
Is that going to be reacclimated, or what are they gonna do to?
Okay, somebody bought that. And he came into me with a plan of action. He put a fence around it. He's already knocked a lot of the slopes down. And he intends to reforest it, but it's not gonna happen overnight. So at least we have progress where we had none at all before.
Just sat on question unanswered, and
That's not the sand and gravel pit on Maple, right?
no, this is off of Walker's Forge Road. This is an old gravel pit.
Right,
but
the
they
one,
ran-
yeah.
I think they ran out of material over there,
Yep.
Noel, and I brought it up a couple years back, and there was something discussed that they have a plan that they're gonna take care of. But the problem that we have, or maybe I should say had, I guess it probably still is had. Now, way long back in the day, there was a $2,000 bond that was put up for whatever administrative costs or what have you to reacclimate the property. Well, I can't even imagine how you can get an engineer for $2,000 put together a reacclimated plan to restore the property to knock down on slopes and what have you.
Well, the guy he put a fence in it so the motorcycles can't go in there. I think he's letting his kid ride around there.
What kind of a fence, a plastic fence?
No, I believe it's like a low steel fence.
Metal fence?
And he has a machine in there and he has been knocking the banks down. And he bought the whole property and he intends to build a house on the front of it. It's a young guy. And, so he's making progress where no progress was made before, but he's not gonna do it overnight. It's too big of a project.
The only reason why I do bring that up and ask is because, quite frankly, that could present a liability issue for the city in the event that somebody was going through there.
Well, I think
50
our
miles an
liability
hour
issue.
on a motorbike.
Yeah, I think our liability issue is over now because we've ordered him to redo it, and he owns it, and it's his liability now. And he's taken, before if we knew about it, and we didn't order anybody to redo it, then somebody could say, well, the city knew about it, why didn't you do anything about it? But now we have documentation that he bought it, and he's been told to reclaim it, and he's working on it.
Okay.
We're not done, but we're ahead of the game, okay? I mean, that's all I can tell you.
So, we have a motion on the floor
Had a
and a
second.
second. How about we vote to accept or reject the zoning officer report? All in favor? Like sign opposed? Hearing none, they are accepted. We have nothing to memorialize, so we
I
can
make a
skip.
motion to accept the correspondence.
Second, please.
All in favor?
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Like sign for opposed? Hearing none, correspondence is accepted. We have no old business, we have no new business.
I think we covered all of that.
Yep. A motion to open the floor for public discussion, please.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The floor is open.
It's been an hour, 10 minutes, so I know not too long, but it felt like it. But anyway, First thing I'm gonna say is Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hope things,
For the record, name, all like that.
Creed's Hug, 169 Cumberland Avenue.
Thank you.
Again, Happy New Year. What Mr. Caraganato brought up and part of that discussion, you're gonna, at least a couple of things to keep in mind. One is, there's usually three things involved with getting a task done. The time it takes, the quality you do it, and the cost you're gonna incur. And generally, a truism is you can choose two out of those three. Because you're not gonna get anything that's high quality, very quick, and no cost. But I think it's very important that this go to city council for a discussion on the financial end. I think as Mr. Caraganato was trying to explain, and I'm hoping it's understood, if you sink a chunk of money, granted for a good purpose, into these properties, it may be quite a while before it comes back. So any fantasies that anyone would have that, oh, there'll be a revolving fund and it'll take care of itself after a small initial investment. The city may find itself in a situation of having to invest a chunk and waiting quite a while to even get it back. And then unfortunately, there are those who aren't above then complaining because that's now the case. So that needs to be looked at. The other part is probably going to be, I'll try to be a little more artful again than Mr. Caraganato was in the discussion of the court system, but perhaps again from city council would be a discussion with the prosecutor, not so much of, whether having them promise you to be a hang 'em high or whatever, but just their read on what is in fact doable. Because otherwise you get into the expectations of, well, you think you're gonna get X, Y, and Z if you adopt these things. And the reality is, from your legal professional, as the prosecutor, you're being hours for the city. As the prosecutor says, I'm not gonna be able to get those things. And if in some of these it's blood out of a stone, that's gonna be the other problem. And it may be that perhaps it'd be wise for the CEO of the city to have a discussion with people at the county to find out if others, or the improvement authority, to find out specifically if other municipalities are having some of the same problems with community champions that we seem to be. It may be we're the rural one and we're the low end of the totem pole. It may be that a business model where you're only getting $100 per property may wind up being unsustainable in the long run. And so it may not just be Estell Manor with a problem, but Egg Harbor and Hamilton and Galloway and everywhere else. But
I'd like to take a look at some short communities like Brigantine, Margate.
Well, then,
it's all the same.
they're all involved in it.
It's all the same thing.
All
Everybody's
of them that I know of have been involved with this community champion.
right. If everybody in the county signed up with
Yeah.
signed up with them, the question is,
You're right.
is that just flawed now, and it just, there was just too many? Because after all, we are, depending on how you count it, we're the tops in the state when it comes to foreclosures at this point.
And that's their business model.
And that's,
You know,
sure, but the thing is, the business world is replete with, I thought this was gonna work, and it didn't.
Yeah.
So that may be not just us, but everywhere else, and then, it's just, I'd hate this to get into a whole bunch of discussion for a while, and then we find out at the
Well,
end.
the big,
Yeah.
When we get to the point of the sphere,
Our mayor to take it back through those
Yeah,
channels.
it's not gonna go.
Because this body is
well,
gonna be
the
able to
big
fix
winner,
that.
the big winner is the
Yeah.
Atlantic County Improvement Authority, cause they get $100 for doing nothing.
Yeah.
Okay? Really, when you come down
Thank you.
to it.
You done?
Oh, yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Motion to.
All right, we have a motion to close the comments. Is that all in favor? Opposed? Okay. Thank you, sir. That's done. Motion to adjourn.
Wait, You gotta talk tomorrow, so you probably get back to the.
Yeah,
I'll,
So we can talk with South the House.
I'll second it, Linda.
we are adjourned.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye, aye, aye.
Keep that in mind.
Aye, 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 aye.